best-of-3 series. Clemson, the ACC tournament champions for the first time, taking on Texas. Who's this year from West Des Moines, Iowa, same high school as Caitlin Clark, and they've leaned a lot on this sophomore the last 2 years.
She has been so good this season. Those 27 starts, she is a trusted arm in the circle to get the tone started for Texas.
Let's take a look at our Capital One starting lineups. For the Clemson Tigers, Alex Brown will lead things off for them. But Marion Collins, just one of the freshmen who have made a big impact this year.
I mean, only got sat down once, had 4 RBI, just a solid producer down in the bottom of the lineup for the Tigers.
She went 8 for 9 in that regional, as you see, and that works out to an .889 batting average.
Not too shabby.
Good way to go, and we are officially underway in Austin. The sun is setting. It was hot today. Temperatures now in the high 80s. And Alex Brown getting going, played 1 year at North Carolina before transferring to Clemson. She had 3 hits in the regional and takes that pitch for the first hit of the game. Leadoff is on for the Tigers.
For Tegan Kavan in the circle, she's going to touch 70 miles an hour. She throws her rise over 50% of the time and uses it at all levels. She gets good arm side run with it, about 6 inches of vertical break, and she mixes it with her drop that also gets about 6 inches of break in the other direction. Those pitches tunnel so well together. If she can locate her change, she will be very successful tonight.
And the talented second baseman, Maddie Moore, steps in for the Tigers. First team all-conference for 2 straight years, and this year she has set a Clemson single season record with those 66 RBI.
And there's that changeup. That will be the difference maker for the longevity of her in the circle. Kavan, when she has that pitch in her arsenal, she does a really good job of just being able to mix up her velocity.
And Lightning is in the area, so we're just 1 batter plus 2 pitches in, and the players are being pulled from the field if Lightning is within 8 miles. If there is a lightning strike, we have to go into a weather delay, and that is where we are. So with Alex Brown at first base and a 2-strike count on Maddie Moore, we're going to have to shut things down for a while for a minimum of 30 minutes. This will be 30 minutes after the last strike within the 8-mile radius. And we will be here, and we'll come back with softball, but right now we're going to get you to a break, and we'll keep you posted from Austin. See the Lightning, and we are ready to roll in game 1 of this best-of-3 Super Regionals, presented by Capital One. Top single to Alex Brown, and then had an 0-2 count to Maddie Moore.
Well, and Kavan started the game well, got that bloop single, jammed up Alex Brown, but Brown was strong enough to punch it out there to left, right in front of Katie Bennett to get that leadoff single to move us now to Maddie Moore. She touches about 70 miles an hour in the circle, throws her rise about over 50% of the time, and uses it at all different levels. She gets good arm side run with about 6 inches of vertical break up, and mixes it with her drop that gets about 6 inches of vertical break down in the other direction. Those 2 pitches tunnel so well together, and if she can locate that changeup, she's going to be very successful tonight.
Alex Brown, the leadoff hitter for Clemson, the senior, over there at first base, single to left field to start things off. As we take a look at our Capital One starting lineups, Marion Collins, a freshman who was a ridiculous 8 for 9 in the regionals last week.
Just a solid producer sitting down there in the 6th spot in the lineup, coming in behind Abby Vieira, who is protecting those bigger bats in the lineup.
So 1 hour and 33-minute delay. And we are about to get underway in Austin. There are some forecasts for showers later, but it looks like we have a window that should be big enough for us to get some softball in tonight. And Maddie Moore, the talented second baseman, inheriting or with that 0-2 count, pardon me, takes ball one. A very special player for this team, has really blossomed in this her senior season, improving every year, and is very good defensively. That's popped up, out of play, and caught by a fan behind the plate.
Well, but it is not Savannah Bananas, so it does not count as an out for the Longhorns. The wind picking up, though, here in Austin.
Blowing from right to left field right now. Now the 1-2 count to Moore. He's got a piece of it. Reese Atwood behind the plate as usual for Texas. Atwood was a demon at the plate with 3 home runs in the regional last weekend. Both of these teams swept their regionals at home to get to the Supers. Texas trying to get back to the World Series for the second consecutive season and for the 3rd time in 4 years.
And it's so hard in a delay to be able to come in and know that you're facing Kavan in the circle, but Moore has done a good job as she started with an 0-2 count.
Gets that one to also go out of play. The Clemson Tigers playing in their 3rd Super Regional in 4 years, and this their 5th full season of softball. Not only have they not won a Super Regional, they have not won a Super Regional game, being swept in their previous 2 trips. 8th pitch on the way to Moore. And from 0-2 to a full count.
Well, that just shows the maturity of Moore in the circle. Just able to spoil those pitches close to the zone and being disciplined on those near the plate. I'm so impressed the way that this senior has taken her senior campaign this year for Clemson.
Lifted into short center field. Henry coming in from center, but it was Katie Stewart retreating from short to get the first out of the first. We take a look at the defense behind Tegan Kavan, and they had to really switch things up in the middle infield when Viviana Martinez hurt her knee in the preseason.
Yeah, tore ACL in the fall. They had to try a bunch of different players at the shortstop position, but that is the every bread and butter, everyday player over there at third. Mia Scott has been so good for Texas
so
this year.
Stewart now, pardon me, playing at short. Leon Good over at second. Julia Noller, the first baseman for the Tigers. Just 1 for 10 in the regional. But that one hit was a double, and this year she has set the Clemson season record for doubles. Down 0-2, just like Moore was before her.
Well, Kavan loves to fill the zone early and then be able to play with a batter to try to get that swing and miss.
Atwood holds it for a long time, but doesn't get the call.
That's how a catcher lets an umpire know that that was an intentional pitch that she thinks nipped a corner, and as long as Kavan can show the ability to go back to that spot with accuracy and with intention, I think she's going to be able to buy that strike as the game goes on.
Scott Mayer calling balls and strikes for us this evening. 4-person umpiring crew. Atwood 6 feet tall. Catcher behind the plate. Two just lifted into short center. Henry had to go a few steps for the second out.
We're seeing a lot of miss hits by Kavan right now, missing barrels, and the Tigers struggling to square things up.
John Rittman started this program, now in his 6th season. ACC Coach of the Year in his first full year when they won the regular season championship. Head coach for 18 years at Stanford, and he and Mike White, his counterpart, know each other very well. And Coach White was at Oregon. And Coach White had a daughter, Nairi, who played for John Rittman for a couple of years.
Yeah, Coach Rittman recruited her, and Nairi went in, played for Coach Rittman before he was let go at Stanford.
Good look at Mike White. Done a great job with this program. Cintron, the DP, And this freshman class has really delivered for this Tiger Club that lost so many key seniors, some of them founders of the program. Not a lot was expected coming in this year, but boy, the freshmen have kept them at that high level of play. ACC tournament champions for the first time. Here's the 2-1.
Beautiful pitch down in the zone. Took a little velocity off of that pitch, and you mentioned that this has been a reset year for Clemson. They graduated 7 seniors last year, some of the pillars of the program that put Clemson on the map.
Inside, despite what the people in the crowd are bellowing.
Yeah, there's a lot of umpires with burnt orange on tonight.
Yes. Burnt orange and tiger orange trimmed in purple. Full count again. Kavon's been flirting with those full counts, but she's gotten out of all of them. The leadoff single to Brown does no harm. Kavon sets the next 3 down in order. A transfer from Winthrop, who was the pitcher of the year in the ACC.
Yeah, ACC pitcher of the year, 10 complete games, 1 shutout. The transfer from Winthrop has been filling the need for high-quality pitching with Cagle and Thompson and Spencer gone for Clemson this season.
Take a look now at the starting lineup brought to you by Capital One. Ashton Maloney will be leading off, but in the cleanup position is Reese Atwood, who is going through kind of an up and down season, but in the regional last week, 8 for 11, 3 home runs and 13 runs driven in. As you see, that almost doesn't seem possible. That is a .727 average.
Well, and the 1 home run was about 10 feet away from hitting the building across the street behind left field.
So Maloney begins, second team All-SEC performer, also on the all-defensive squad, playing out in right field, the only starter who has not hit a home run this season. She had a hot regional as well, going 7 for 12. Chop to Moore, who's a really good second baseman, and warmed your heart, Jenny Dalton-Hill, by saying she loves playing defense. And let's take a look at that defense.
She does love defense, but when you look at the way that they're set up, Moore over there at second base, it's her first year actually playing second base full time. She's been at short and third in previous years.
She told us she would rather take 300 ground balls than hit for 30 minutes.
And I looked at her and I said, seriously? Because you're a really good hitter. She said, yeah, I just take a lot of pride in my defense.
Outstanding hitter. Now, Caden Henry, the sophomore, second team all-conference this year. Remember, this is Texas's first year in the SEC, along with Oklahoma. And she is hitting .420 on the season. One of the more lighthearted players on this team.
I really enjoyed talking with Caden Henry before this Super Regional started. She said, I asked if they had any nicknames for Coach White. She said, oh, you mean Pawpaw White? When we mentioned it to Coach White, he said, I know who said that.
Yes, and it was indeed Caden. Let's take a look at what Basinger has.
So Basinger is going to throw 63 to 64 miles an hour. She's very spin-focused with a curve to both sides of the plate and a drop. She has a fantastic changeup and will throw it to multiple times to batters. She does not waste time in the circle. Very efficient.
Yeah, very quick. And Collins has to be really quick and got her. Great stretch over there by Noller at first base. And the very speedy Henry was called out.
She was called out, but it looks like we're going to have a replay review. Knowing there is a ton of speed coming out of the box, had to be rushed. And I think this is going to be an overturned challenge. Watching her get down the line, she came hard out of the box.
The ruling on the field is out at first base. Texas is challenging that ruling. We're under review.
Mike Bartling is the first base umpire who made the call, very close. And Henry, one of the speedier players on this team, leads them in stolen bases, 30 out of 31 on the season. And this is actually second in the nation in stolen bases. Let's take a look.
Yeah, I think that foot gets in there. You're looking for, does the foot touch the bag before the ball is secured in the web of the glove? The glove doesn't have to close around the ball. It just has to be in the web. And Caden, so fast down the line, hits the front of the bag. Let that be a lesson to all of you young athletes that are playing this game. If she doesn't hit the front of the bag, she does not get this overturned.
And with the freeze, you see there's the foot and there's the ball not in Nolar's glove.
Impressed with how many fans stuck around in that lightning delay. Still a full house here in Austin.
And third baseman Mia Scott hitting .442 on the season. Janae Jefferson hit .446 in 2021. That was the best season ever average-wise, and Scott is creeping up on that. Puts down the bunt and beats it out. Then the ball gets away from Nolar. That allows Henry to try to come home, and she scores. Caden Henry was blasted around the bases to put Texas on top.
And there's a lot to unpack in that play. All of it has to do with speed. When you put wheels in the box and on the bases, it puts pressure on a defense to have to be perfect in their execution. So with Basinger fielding this ball and Nolar at first base casually taking that ball, got away. And when you've got the speed of Caden Henry, you've got to be aware of taking care of that little yellow ball. And when you do not, they're going to exploit it. Puts a run on the board after just one small little miscue over there at first base.
So Scott, that's an infield single on the bunt. And then a throwing error charge to Basinger, the pitcher. That's an unearned run.
I'm surprised that they give that error to Basinger. I think that's a very fieldable catch by Nolar at first base. I would put that error on Nolar and not on the throw.
I agree. That should have been caught by Nolar, and she probably would be the first one to admit it. And now, the problem that is Reese Atwood at the plate. 2 home runs in the regional clincher against UCF. After going through, for her, a little bit of a rough patch in the season, and Coach Mike White told her, look, you don't have to do it all by yourself. You have teammates who will pick you up, and boy, did she respond in the regional.
Well, she's the first player to hit 45 or more home runs, 175 or more RBI in a career here at Texas.
Popped up into short left field, playable for Johnson.
Hitting fifth, the shortstop, number
Texas
20.
first year in the SEC. 49 wins, 7 all-conference selections, 22 run rule victories, and you see tied for the third in the country in shutouts and second in the entire country with a .361 batting average. 2 out for Katie Stewart, who is playing shortstop this year for Martinez.
There has been some movement at the shortstop spot as they tried to fill the loss of their everyday shortstop, going down with that injury in the fall.
Also in the air, Collins calls off Brown for the 3rd out, but Texas scores an unearned run, and they take the lead. Abby Vieira leading things off with her team down 1-0 now. We had an hour-and-a-half rain delay. If you're just tuning in and going, why are you only in the 2nd inning? That's why. Abby Vieira, a veteran catcher. In the regular season hit .338, a crisp .412 in the postseason to raise her average. Facing Tegan Cavan, who has World Series experience, pitched there last year as a freshman. Got all the way to the Championship Series, where for the 2nd time in 3 years they played Oklahoma and lost.
Yep, last 4 years Oklahoma's been the national champion, and I don't know if you recognize in that video promo that we had for the World Series, Pam, but The very first frame is 3 UCLA players hugging each other, one of them being Dot Richardson. Dot Richardson, now the head coach at Liberty, that took down the #1 team, Texas A&M, just last week.
2-1 to Vieira. So we mentioned that Vieira is on a tear. Clemson swept all 3 of their games in their regional last week at home, taking out Kentucky in the finale, and Vieira was right in the thick of things. She's also an excellent catcher behind the plate. Chopped and handled by Jolie Mitchell. Notre Dame transfer, finishing out her career here in Austin.
Wanted the experience of what it was like playing in a big program like Texas, so graduated from Notre Dame and took her 2 years of eligibility here to Austin.
Marion Collins, another true freshman. 8 for 9 in the regional last week. And hitting .556 in the postseason, counting the ACC tournament that Clemson won. Come from behind fashion. Mitchell, a little bobble, but no problem. Couple of ground balls to first.
You can see these hitters ahead of Pavon in the circle. What that means is she's manipulating her speed very well, and these hitters out in front, so the barrel getting around a little too early. A lot of action over there at first.
And Pavon has been spot on. First pitch strikes on 5 of the 6 batters she has faced. Now Taylor Pipkins, another freshman.
Again, another off-speed pitch. She's starting these hitters with the off-speed, trying to make sure they understand that they need to be able to manipulate their barrel, stay in their legs. Typically you see power pitchers hold on to that changeup for a little while and bring it out maybe the second time through the lineup, but Pavon in this one has brought it out early.
0-1 to Pipkins. Make it 0-2.
And it's a very low zone here tonight. Pavon has tried to push the top of the zone just above the belt. It has not been called, so that ball right under the kneecap is actually getting called as a strike here tonight.
Katie Stewart, not in time. Pipkins gets down to first with 2 away.
Well, and I understand why she stayed back to get the high hop. However, when you sit back and let the ball stay in the air that long, you give too much time for a batter to get down the line. A shortstop needs to be more aggressive moving forward. Pick that on the short hop, come away with a throw on the run, get yourself out of the inning.
So Pipkins credited with the infield single against Stewart, playing over there, and it's kind of taken some lumps playing shortstop, but Mike White has told her just be in there, try to be steady, not asking for magic. But
no,
that's a tough position to just throw someone into.
It is, and you have to learn the timing of shortstop. You cannot sit back on those things. Letting the ball hit twice on the ground is what gave Pipkins the chance to get down the line. It's learning when to charge, when to sit back, when to take a step back. It's a position of feel, and you have to be able to just get those reps, and Stewart still learning those lessons.
Kylie Johnson's turn to fall behind 0-2 to Pavon. Johnson only 6 home runs on the season, but in the last 4 games, she's hit 2 home runs that have been go-ahead homers.
Yeah, struggled early, was taken out of the lineup, and then found her way into the starting lineup and has kept herself there. Yeah, that high strike is not going to get called tonight. That one was definitely high, not a strike. But we're noticing the ball just above the belt not getting called in this one tonight. So hitters need to take note in the dugout as they face Pavon. The pitch that might feel too low is actually getting called tonight.
Johnson just got a piece of it.
I'm never upset as a hitter if a zone stays consistent. It's the zone that changes through the game that makes it really difficult to attack.
Another 2-2 with Pipkins over at first. Another chance for Stewart. That was played better and not in time. Johnson got down the line.
Well, there was a stutter step, Pam, before she charged that ball, so she played that one much better. Learning from the previous ball that she sat back on, tried to go forward, but recognized the hesitation before she came forward. If she had just taken that step forward immediately, she would have been able to throw that runner out. But that little hesitation gave enough time for Johnson to get down the line.
Boy, another close call over at first. Now Patty Ruth Taylor, now in her second year, she calls the pitches for Texas. Is out there in the circle.
Steve Singleton working with the defense for Texas, a minor league player in the Twins organization.
And an associate head coach now here at Texas. 2 on and 2 away for Clemson.
And Clemson's not a team that will bow down lightly. While they did allow a run in the first inning with just a lack of focus on a play that squibbled away from Noller at first base, they continue to put pressure on Texas.
And Clemson has been the comeback kids. Certainly were in the ACC championship tournament where they came from behind in all 3 games to win. The epic comeback in the rain in the semifinal against Virginia Tech. And then Kylie Johnson's home run in the 7th that beat Florida State 2-1 in the championship. Jamison Brockenbrough, the number 9 hitter, the transfer from Tennessee, who's been sort of a breath of fresh air for them, keeps everybody loose in the clubhouse, trying to get on base and just keep this game going, turn over the lineup. Keep this inning going, pardon me.
And previous to this season, she had been more of a swing away lefty, but got injured her hand in the fall, and with that moved to more short game and started utilizing her short game more, and so now has that as a confident tool to use at the plate.
2-2 on a 70-mile-an-hour pitch from Cavan.
When it was early in this game, we saw a bunch of bloop hits hit out to the outfield. And that was one of the things that her defense said they struggled with. She pitched so well, and balls just continued to fall in front of the outfielders and just beyond the reach of the infielders because they weren't able to square up barrel.
Brockenbrough, boy, very busy inning for Katie Stewart, who was able to just reach up and tag Pipkins.
Put up a ton of home runs. Offense definitely rolling, and they're hoping that they can keep that trend going here against Clemson, because Oklahoma not ranked #1 this year, and actually the #1 seed in the tournament went down last week. Texas A&M fell to Liberty at home. First time ever in regional play that the #1 seed did not advance. So is this the year that Oklahoma does not win? I know that is not going to be a popular statement.
Been waiting for that to happen, and hasn't happened yet. Jolie Mitchell, second year at Texas, Notre Dame transfer. Pre-med program, and is going to go to nursing school in the fall.
Wants to be a nurse anesthetist. So she says it gives a lot of freedom. Makes quite a bit of money. And she appreciates just having things to challenge her mind. She says she sits down to study with some of her teammates, and they say, "That's cool, what's that?"
Like a whole different language. And you see the improvement in her numbers from last season. Her first year, that ball was hammered. It's going to have a dent in it from hitting the wall, or maybe vice versa.
But the improvement that we've seen in Jolie Mitchell from last year to this year, it's great. I mean, almost double the home runs, RBI improvement. So as she sits in the bottom of the lineup, she sits with a chance to be able to put more runs around with the kind of bats that hit in front of her.
The numbers for this team, again, second in the nation in batting average. The first 4 hitters in the lineup hitting at least .420. Mitchell at .388 coming into today. fighting off pitches from Reese Basinger. And Basinger, very different pitcher than her counterpart tonight in Tegan Cavan. You're going to see a lot of pitch to contact, as you mentioned, spinny, not a lot of strikeouts, very different.
I mean, she does have 121 strikeouts coming into tonight, but you're right, Pam. She's more of a touch pitcher and pitching to contact. That one right to Jolie Mitchell's bat, an easy stand-up double, but she chooses to slide in and get the uniform dirty. There was no need. That ball was nowhere near the infield by the time she got to second base. Took off hard out of the box, and that's what made that such an easy advancement. That ball got all the way to the wall. And on a pitch-to-contact pitcher, you have to mix speeds. And right now we're seeing the 60s, very hittable speed. And with it rolling all the way to that 10-foot wall, Jolie Mitchell, easy stand-up double to start off the second.
9th double of the year for Mitchell, and that came on a full count, the first 3-ball count for Basinger this evening. Victoria Hunter is DPing tonight in the 7th spot for the Longhorns. A sophomore from Houston. Pops it up. Caught by Vieira. Mitchell did not stray off second. First out.
Engaged and playing second base.
Yeah, cardinal sin when you're given the sacrifice bunt. You better miss or put it on the ground. Popping up, definitely not the way to execute that play.
Bottom of the order, trying to get something done with Leanne Good, pardon me, the second baseman. He was 4 for 10 in the regional last week. Hit into center field. Brockenbrough initially broke forward and then retreated to grab it for the second out.
Typically, you want to see your center fielder hold her position instead of breaking hard in right away. But Brockenbrough able to retreat easy enough to get back and get that catch. I thought that ball had a little more giddy up off the barrel, but obviously got jammed up enough to just drive it deep.
Mitchell still over at second after the leadoff double. Katie Bennett in the bottom of the order. Winds are shifting after we had some thunder and lightning move through a little bit of rain. Bennett is a player who had a couple of hits last week in the regional, but she went through a spell, a 4-week spell where she went 0 for 29.
April was not a good month. I'm sure she was grateful to see the calendar flip because May has been much more successful for Bennett.
RBI situation.
When talking to Mike White about Katie Bennett, he said one of the reasons she was having such a hard time is she was just very indecisive at the plate and got caught in between timing issues. And so May, she was a little bit better at making those decisions and being decisive, going after strikes, laying off of balls, and not being caught in between.
Because the ball gets to you so quickly. If you're indecisive, right, even for a split second, you could be absolutely just out of luck on that at bat.
Well, and when you play Tennessee, LSU, and Oklahoma, yeah, you're not going to have a lot of time to think because those are some of the best teams in the country.
3-1 pitch, ball 4, and that brings up Maloney in the top of the lineup.
First walk of the night by Reese Basinger. She does not give up a ton of free passes. That just her 44th on the season.
A chance for Maloney, the right fielder who grounded out her first time up.
If you're thinking 44 walks sounds like a lot, well, she's thrown 170 innings, so comparatively, that's a very low number.
And a good walk to strikeout ratio as well for Basinger. And in the postseason, really, since the ACC tournament, Clemson, it's been a 1-2 punch of Basinger and then Brooke McCubbin, just those two pitchers.
I anticipate Brooke McCubbin. I think we'll see Basinger for about 3 innings, and then McCubbin will relieve.
McCubbin got all 3 wins in relief of Basinger in the ACC tournament.
When you've seen this ball not get called up in the zone much tonight, that's about as high as we've seen get called.
1-2, another ball that goes towards the wall in foul territory. Off the plate.
And I appreciate it when a pitcher gets ahead that they want to throw a waste pitch, but it needs to be believable. Out of the hand of Basinger, that pitch had already fallen out of a hittable zone, and so it doesn't fool a batter into a swing and miss.
And that hit Maloney, who runs down to first, and the bases are loaded now for Caden Henry.
Center fielder number 21, Caden Henry.
20th batter that Basinger has hit this year.
And so right off the wrist, and you're thinking, well, doesn't she have to make a move to get out of the way of that ball? No, she doesn't. If the ball is considered to be completely in the batter's box, then she doesn't have to make a move to get out of the way.
So the bases are loaded now with 2 away for Henry, who had an infield single and then scored all the way from first base on a bunt and an error. The only run we have so far. And after a caucus with the infield, Basinger ready to face Henry. He's 0 for 2 this season with the bases loaded. But with runners in scoring position, Caden hitting .521 on the year, so a big opportunity early for Texas. Picked up by Collins. Noller hung on, little snow cone over there at first base to get Henry, and Texas leaves them loaded.
Lightning delay. Caden Henry got things started for Texas as she got on with the infield single. Very next batter, Mia Scott, drag bunt to the pitcher. Reese Basinger throws to first base, but Julia Noller, not taking the throw too seriously, lets it get away. And the speed of Henry all the way from first base gives us a 1-0 lead for Texas.
Pam Ward and Jenny Dalton-Hill joining you from Austin, Texas. Here's Caden Henry, and she scored first tonight, and when her team does that, they have only lost 1 game all year. This is a team that has won 49 games. They win tonight, it will be the first, or anytime this weekend, it will be their first back-to-back 50-win seasons in Texas history. Alex Brown, the leadoff hitter, singled to start things off and then was stranded when Tegan Caban got the next 3 Tigers.
Second time through the lineup, what you're looking for is adjustments by hitters to see that if they can be more successful at the plate. In Alex Brown's first at bat, she got a pop single out into shallow left field because she got jammed up.
Appeal down, and it is a strike.
And she does break the plane of the plate, and it's a believable pitch, but takes a little bit of velocity off of it, which makes it fall off the table right as it enters the strike zone.
This time into center field. Henry dives for it, can't get it. Backed up well as Bennett came over to help things out and keep Brown to a single.
tell you what, Caden Henry is so fast, and that's one of the pet peeves of the outfield when Kavon is in the circle. Because she gets a lot of miss hits, they get these bloop singles. But with the height of that hit not coming off on a straight line, it does give her the chance to dive for that, to try to get the catch, knowing that she's got her left fielder coming over to back her up.
Well, 2 of the 4 hits for Clemson have come off the bat of Brown. Maddie Moore takes a mighty swing. Brown popped out to short her first time up. Maddie Moore did. That's into the gap. Nobody's going to get to that. Brown to third. Wide turn by Moore. But she heads back to first. Runners on the corners to start things off in the second for Clemson.
First baseman.
Great adjustment by Maddie Moore in her second at bat. First time up, got jammed up, popped out to the shortstop. This one, waits, keeps her barrel back, and then drives right through this pitch on the outside part of the plate. Good job of letting the ball travel. With Caden Henry so good in the outfield to chase it down before it gets to the wall, you got to think Alex Brown was off on contact, and with a ton of speed over there, it now puts him on the corners for the Tigers.
This is the heart of the lineup. Noller, the number 3 hitter, flew out to Henry in center her first time up. Clemson has left 3 on base in the first 2 innings against Kavon.
And in a first and third situation, you're always wondering, when is it that the runner on first is going to take off? Maddie Moore is the career stolen base leader at Clemson, but when you look at the arm that sits behind the plate for Texas, there have not been a ton of stolen bases, just 9 allowed on the season for Atwood.
Yeah, 9 and 14 attempts in the entire season. Which, you're right, just shows respect for Atwood.
We talked to Coach White about that number, and he said, yes, she's good, and she's proven that she can throw out some of the fastest runners in our game. He said, but a lot of times we've got a big enough lead that teams don't want to trade an out to try to move a runner, so they haven't advanced in that situation either.
1-2 pitch is popped up, playable, in foul territory for Scott, first out of the inning. Sunday Night Baseball coming up. Series finale between the Dodgers and the Mets. Check it out 7 Eastern on ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and radio. Coverage starts at 6 Eastern with Baseball Tonight. Sunday Night Countdown.
Dodgers lead the National League in home runs and average. Mets lead the National League in ERA. Pretty good matchup.
We see Cintron, the freshman DP, ended the first inning with a comebacker. Cintron with 13 home runs this year. Only Valerie Cagle had more as a freshman. She had 17. She finished her brilliant career last year with the Tigers. Stewart can't handle it. It's short. Clemson has tied the game.
And Pam, a shortstop has to make so many decisions defensively. With a high hopper, typically you want your shortstop to move hard forward and pick that short hop, but you have to keep your nose in it. As soon as you lift the chin, the glove comes with it, and that's what happened on that play. She came in appropriately, but took her head out of the play, which didn't allow her to glove it up.
An error on Stewart brings in the first run as Vieira goes after the first pitch.
We talked to Abby Vieira about her close stance and why she's made that change in her hitting mechanics this year. And she told us that she's hypermobile, and in being hypermobile, she found herself pulling off of the ball all the time. Just one of those trusted seniors for Coach Rittman at Clemson, who has been an everyday starter back behind the plate, and this is her first year of being healthy. She has always had an injury that she's been battling and trying to get through, and with that, her numbers have struggled. But this year, her best year yet at the plate, scoring the most runs. Just so important to have a healthy Vieira in the lineup, sitting down here in the 5 slot.
Yeah, big jump, especially between her junior and senior years. Told us she stayed on campus the last 3 years, and as you mentioned, this past offseason, the first one when she could concentrate on softball and not have to throw rehab in the mix.
Yeah, she wasn't training over the summer. She was actually rehabbing every summer prior to this last summer, where she was healthy and getting stronger and putting on healthy weight.
Chopped to Stewart, who turns around, hesitates, and the Tigers have loaded the bases.
Well, and Pam, it's at this moment that the game has sped up for Katie Stewart. She is such a good defender, but in the moments where your heart elevates, the game gets faster, and the ball will always find you in those moments. Another high hop to Katie Stewart, and she thought she was going to be able to get a tag of the advancing runner, forgetting how fast Moore is. She was already by her, and then spikes the ball to Mia Scott, who luckily was able to keep it close enough and not let it get away and allow a run to score. But this timeout by assistant coach Steve Singleton is simply to calm down his defense and bring things back.
So Vieira reaches on a fielder's choice. Cintron, the batter before, was indeed an E6, an error on Stewart that got her on base. And now the bases are loaded with just one away for Marion Collins, who has some power.
She's got 11 home runs on the year. You mentioned it earlier. She was 8 for 9 in the regional, and was also the player that executed the squeeze bunt to score the only run in that 1-0 win over Northwestern in extra innings.
That was during that regional. Neither team tonight has gotten a hit with a runner in scoring position.
But the one inning where they got the run around, it was the 9th. Abby Vieira started the inning with the triple. Next batter, Marion Collins, put the squeeze bunt in the perfect spot. No chance to make a play on Vieira coming down the line. It was the top of the 9th. They held on to win.
So Marion Collins with the infield in.
Pretty good slugging percentage. I mean, not bad for the postseason to hit .889.
Big spot for the freshman. Kennedy Ariel is running out at second base, pinch running for Cintron right now.
And there's the respect that you have to have for Atwood back behind the dish. Look at this throw down the line, little quick throw. Maddie Moore is just a dive away, but there is no need for her to be off the bag that far.
Two swung through.
And that pitch has such good bite. A lot of velo coming out of the circle, and then just able to pop that glove. Nice rise ball.
Lifted in the left, should be deep enough to score more, and she doesn't catch it. Bennett unable to catch it, then the ball's kicked around again. Clemson plates 2.
Off the bat, I thought that was going to be a can of corn for Katie Bennett out there in left, but it continued to just carry and go. We talked with this Texas team about what it was like to play under the lights, and they said, you know what, the game can sometimes get sped up when you play under the lights. Looks like that's what happened for Katie Bennett out there in left. Could not retreat fast enough to grab it. Bounced off the 10-foot wall. The Tigers seem to be in control.
3 runs already across, and still just 1 out. Pipkins is the 7th batter to come to the plate for Clemson in this inning. Infield single in her last at bat, and that has been called a double for Collins. Sent down the right field line, the dive, and it's just foul. As Mahoney made a big run for it.
I think it got her right in the face off of the bounce too, Pam. That was a tough defensive play down the line.
Clemson 11-0, playing under the lights this season. And Texas came and practiced here on Tuesday night because they had not played under the lights much this year. It had been a while, and it was a concern. And just to clean up that last play, Collins credited with the double. And then there was an additional fielding error on the left fielder, Bennett. So another unearned run for the Tigers, but they'll take it. Hipkins won't bite on that 0-2 pitch. Here we are in the third inning. If you take a look at the pitch count, this is about to be pitch number 70 for Kavan.
22 pitches in each of her first 2 innings. That's elevated this inning.
It's just a foul ball. It's been called foul by the home plate umpire.
That was called early, and because it was called foul on the field, it is not a reviewable play. If it had been called fair, then they would have been able to go back and reset runners if it had been a foul ball, but that's a good call. It does hit in front of it. It is definitely a foul ball.
John Reckon over there waving his arms.
Well, he's always trying to get that ball to stay fair in that situation with runners at second and third.
Now the 1-2 to Pipkins. Pipkins having a great offseason. 8 for 19, including the ACC championships. Lifted into right field. The liner caught by Mahoney, and then the great throw in. Vieira stays at third.
Smart by Vieira over there at third base. I mean, this is a line drive, which doesn't give a lot of time to work, but the momentum of Maloney out there in right, good job to just use that momentum. Hard, nice throw in, prevents another run.
Two away for Kylie Johnson, who had an infield single her first time up. .30 pitches for Kavan in this inning alone. And this is pitch number 75 for the game, only in the third inning. Kavan's so good, 2 starts, 2 wins in the regional last week, including a complete game shutout. Defense has let her down a little bit tonight. 2 errors. Two unearned runs. Two to Johnson. Kavan picked a really good time to get her first strikeout of the night. Strands the vibe with this team this year. They're very loose, and no deficit is too big for them.
It's always that character.
Why not us? Why not us? That's been the mantra.
Well, the focus of the year is to have fun. They recognize that they play better when they're loose and focused all at the same time. But the seniors met before the season and wanted an intentional, authentic experience. They said, this is our legacy. They said they need to bring, understood they needed to bring 22 personalities and make them have one goal. They all have a voice. There's not really one true leader in this ball club, and they said our previous alumni walked, so we can run, and we need to take advantage.
And Mia Scott can just trot around the bases as she goes oppo off Basinger. 8th home run of the year.
Nice little Scott trot to get herself just one run away. I mean, Mia Scott has been good all year long. She's been solid defensively over there at third base. And this is about a half ball off the plate. But she is so good at staying in her legs and using the power coming from the circle to drive that ball over the 10-foot wall out and left. Huge home run, an exclamation point for Scott, her 8th of the year, and pushes them within just one run.
So good response after giving up 3 in the top of the inning. And it brings up Atwood, who flew out to left her first time up. Atwood in her career is the best slugging percentage, the most RBIs. Second in home runs. 54 in her career, and she's just a junior. Just a gargantuan year with the 84 RBIs, which is best in the nation this year. That is smushed.
That's exactly the word for it, too. I mean, when you look at the way that she has ranked at the school, she's 3rd among active Division I players in RBI. But that slug and her home runs.
And right now she's chasing herself for the Texas RBI record in a single season. She had 90 last year. And she is, 6 behind that right now. She had 13 last weekend. That helped. That was a big chunk. Pipkins retires Atwood, who's now 0 for 2. A couple of flyouts, 1 to left and now 1 to right. You can hear the crowd here.
Number 20.
I can't believe she didn't get a hit.
Well, and that's what happens when you become so prolific at your school. Everybody expects you to hit a home run every time you're up or drive the ball to the wall. And we play a game of failure. You can't let those moments of not being able to execute impact the next opportunity.
Katie Stewart, the shortstop, popped up too short her first time up, and a rough outing in the field so far tonight.
But those are the at-bats when I felt like I was more focused
Right.
at the plate. When I had made an error in the field, when I'd allowed a run to score, that's when I knew I needed to just be a little bit more focused at the plate to do my job, to make up for maybe the miscue that I had out in the field. That cleansing breath, trying to wipe away the emotions of what have happened already here for her tonight.
Still getting used to playing short. Second team all-conference this year and has put up some great numbers offensively.
Well, she's just had to carry such a huge load with their everyday shortstop going down with that ACL in the fall. They tried multiple people at the shortstop position. And when they tried Leanne Good over there, she did well, but then the second base position struggled. So they put her back to second and gave Stewart the reins at short. And she has had her miscues. That is not something that Mike White does not recognize, but he's asked her to make the everyday play. But the errors have come for her at short this year.
We had a brief look at Viviana Martinez, who was in the dugout wearing her jersey with the ACL in the fall. With the ripple effect on the infield for Texas. There's Vivi. It's got to be tough.
Well, you know, she's been rehabbing. She's so close to being ready to go, but at this point in the season, I don't know that she'd be sharp enough to be able to take the field and make a huge impact.
Might burn a year. That almost got Mike White.
I think it did, Pam.
I'm saying he's all right.
But that's how hard Stewart hits the ball. That's why she's in the lineup. Right off the back of Mike White. Ouch.
around that right shoulder that he just had fixed, right?
I mean, he's been a men's professional pitcher for so long. He said his body's starting to fall apart. That's not going to help.
Full count. Maddie Moore up and down with the ball. Outstanding second baseman.
I just love the way she plays second base. She's been one of those players that I've circled for years, knowing that I love the way that she plays defense. And she's been asked to play third and short while at Clemson, but this year settling into second base. Just a veteran over there. Perfectly timed jump.
She's really enjoying playing second base, and she's being very vocal, too, at her position. Just shouted after that strike and walked in towards her pitcher, basing her. Jolie Mitchell, leadoff double in the second inning and then was stranded.
When Basinger was talking to us about how she really appreciates having that communication from the infield to her, keeping her present in the moment as she faces Jolie Mitchell at the plate.
That is also a foul ball. We've had some close ones down the third base line tonight from both teams. Jolie Mitchell from Rosebud, Arkansas, and she just said, she said population 492.
She
Rosebud.
knew it. We asked if she was going home this summer, and she said, yep. I said, how long are you going to stay? She said, not that long.
Play for Alex Brown.
She had a chance to think, and then the moment maybe got a little too big.
Rockenbro, that is handled by Stewart. One pitch, one out to start the fourth for Kavan.
And you just got to get back on the horse. You know you're going to get the ball multiple times at that shortstop position. So good job of her just reining it in and getting that routine play.
3 runs on 6 hits and 1 error for Clemson. Texas 2-4-2, including the home run by Mia Scott in the last inning. Alex Brown is 2 for 2. She has 2 of their 6 hits. And you see Scott and Mitchell crashing from the corners. Kavan having a conversation with Scott, her third baseman.
You can see the defense pulled in. They expect Alex Brown to just tap and go and try to use her speed down the line. The outfield also pulled in, trying to take away that bloop hit. She's got 2 of them tonight in shallow left and center.
Outfielders are playing in as well. Brown this year has scored the most runs in any single season in Clemson history. Of course, it helps when you have people like Moore behind you, who has the most RBIs. Second in the ACC for Moore, who is on deck.
Beautiful spot. I mean, she painted that corner perfectly, down and in. It is so hard for a lefty to try to keep that ball to the left side of the field. But on a swing away pitch like that, you've got to get that front foot down early enough to get your barrel out in front.
2-2. Foul ball.
Hitting's all about timing, and if you cannot get that front foot down, you're never going to be on time for any pitch. So you have to pick a speed. Against Kavan, you've got to get the front foot down like she's throwing 70 miles an hour, but then be able to stay in your legs long enough to keep the barrel back to face that changeup.
That's up the middle. Solid single for Brown, who is 3 for 3.
Perfect on the night and has not really squared up a ball yet. Has been jammed up in every plate appearance, but is finding a way to be perfect at the plate. And this ball just eats her up on the inside part of the plate. She's strong enough to just punch it right back up the middle, put it out there to Caden Henry in center, past everybody on the infield.
Moore singled and scored in the 3-run third inning for the Tigers. Just one of the 3 runs were earned. A couple of errors for Texas in the last inning.
I think one of the things that makes Maddie Moore so important for this team is she's not afraid to speak up and say the hard things and have the hard conversations. She's earned those stripes through the previous 3 years of her career, and now in her senior season has found her voice and is leading this team in such a great way.
Behind 1-2 to Kavan. This is, by the way, only the second time that Clemson and Texas have played softball against each other. The first time was in February of 2022 when Texas won in the tournament on a neutral site. Much higher stakes tonight. Game 1 of the best of 3 super regionals. And again, the winner will get the winner of Georgia, Florida. They get underway tomorrow afternoon. Going to be a great day just to sit and watch softball. It starts at 11 a.m. Eastern time, I believe, and just goes through.
Yep.
Up to Oregon.
Just pick your snacks, move the refrigerator into the front room. This is the best time of the year.
Moore goes down swinging. Second strikeout for Kavan.
Man, when you've got a big swing like Maddie Moore, those pitches up in the zone just look so tasty. But the way that the rise ball came in, too much to handle. Ton of velocity, good spin over the barrel of Moore.
Up to Noller, who's 0 for 2 to try to get something done with 2 outs. Brown over at first. And it's handled there easily by Mitchell, who steps on the bag. Brown stranded.
In the top of the 4th for
Kavan gives up a hit.
On base.
And when we come back, we'll talk with Mike White, the head coach for Texas, his team down by 1.
Realizing the bend of the pitch and the shape of a pitch. And when we talked to Tegan Kavan about that, she said, you know what? By having those conversations, I'm able to visualize better because of how he speaks to me, because he's been in this position. So having the wealth of knowledge as a head coach has helped the pitching staff.
Victoria Hunter leading things off here in the bottom of the 4th against Reese Basinger. So both starters still in the game for the respective teams. Basinger had 0-2. Alex Brown, perfect throw, first out.
Talking about moving players around defensively, Alex Brown in a new spot this year. She was handling the outfield well for Clemson last season, but then with those graduations last season needing to play the hot corner, not the hot box. The hot box is Mike
That's
White.
Mike White. That's all
about
it
10
is.
feet to the right of Alex Brown.
Leanne Good playing second base, flew out to center her first time up. Good cut.
And that's a healthy cut with really solid mechanics. That ball just moved over the barrel. I mean, the way that Good attacked that pitch, she was very balanced, got good solid front side to be able to swing hard through that one. But the way that that ball got over the barrel, so important for Basinger to keep moving those pitches.
Good with some pop in that bat. Has 8 home runs on the season, but had 2 of them last week in the regional, where they outscored their opponents 35-6 and hit .478 as a team.
Let's go, Leanne!
4 hits so far in this one as Basinger gets a swing and a miss.
You mentioned last week, it was Good that went 4 for 10 last week at regionals, and in that time, half of her hits, home runs.
That's hit into center field. Johnson goes back. Or left field, pardon me. That is the left side of the infield.
Left fielder,
It's
number
late.
5.
It's late, Jennifer. Keep me honest.
I had to on that one. I had to give you
It's
the
like,
big
what are
L.
you saying?
I'm
I thought you were calling me a loser again.
No,
Also true.
I was trying to tell you the ball went to left.
Is it morning yet?
Almost.
Katie Bennett now steps in, the number 9 hitter. Basinger has not set Texas down in order yet in this game. Behind 0-2. Well off the plate, and Bennett did not chase. Bennett's been a streaky hitter for Texas this year. This is her 3rd school. True freshman at Texas A&M Commerce and then Abilene Christian last year. Now she's here in Austin.
Well, the number 9 batter for Texas has done such a good job of just turning things over and flipping it back over to the top with speed down here at the bottom.
The 1-2. That was Basinger's 70th pitch of the night.
We talked to Mike White about the speed that he has on his team. He says, you know what, I do have really good speed on this team. The problem is you can't steal first base, and it's the bottom of the lineup that has really struggled to put things together. And so needing Bennett to get on to help the top of the lineup.
Collins throws her out. And for the first time, it's a 1-2-3 inning for Basinger. Clemson had a 1.5 hour weather delay, some lightning in the area, so we're a little bit behind schedule, but certainly worth staying up to see this game 1 of the best of 3 super regionals between Texas and Clemson. Clemson, the ACC tournament champions for the first time in their history, whereas Texas bowed out early when they were run-ruled by Texas A&M. Play there by Scott, who retires Cintron for the first out of the 5th. And both of these teams came into this game. Neither Texas nor Clemson has lost a game when leading after 4 innings this year. And Clemson's on top after 4 innings. Still a lot of softball to play, but see if that streak is broken. Abby Vieira, the catcher. Fists one that plunks into short left field, and she takes a wide turn but stops at first. Bennett did a good job to catch up to the ball in a hurry.
And it's another Kavon bloop. She misses barrels so well and gets a ton of miss hits, but in doing so, her defense is left exposed at times. There is no way to defend that ball. Just got to get it back into the infield. Vieira, first hit of the night for her.
And on that replay, got a good angle of Mia Scott, the third baseman, who just throws up her arms. It's like, oh my gosh, she barely hit that, and it still goes down as a single. But you're right, they're just, it's got to be frustrating. You know, Kavon's pitching well, they're not getting their barrel on it, and they're still able to get base hits. Mitchell gets the lead runner, nobody covering first. Don't know if it would have been in time anyway, as Collins reaches on the fielder's choice.
On the hard part in that situation, you got your second baseman too far away to be able to retreat and cover up the bag, so they just get the lead runner and keep the thread over there at first.
Mitchell, very smart. Great student athlete. Pipkins has one of the 8 hits now for Clemson. They have 8 hits, Texas just 4. One of them, the Scott home run that made this a 1-run game back in the 3rd. That hits off of Kavan, but she kept her cool. A little low throw, but it was scooped up easily by Mitchell to end the inning.
Protect that part of your body.
She just had that one little band, bracelet. That's not nearly enough. Tries to use her speed to get on base to start off the 5th. Texas trailing by a run.
Maloney was on a 14-game hit streak to start the season, and one of the things that Coach White likes about her in the top spot is she sees a ton of pitches and has a really good on-base percentage, coming in at .469.
Basinger solid in the circle for Clemson, giving up 4 hits tonight. But that's really big, right? Especially for a leadoff hitter to see and not just important for her to see a lot of pitches, but her teammates also, right?
Yeah, especially to start a game. At this point, everybody's seen the pitcher in the circle. But at the beginning of a game, to be able to spoil a bunch of pitches, see what a pitcher's throwing, where the strike zone is being called is so important. And that's one of the things that Maloney has done so good this year. She was called out of the box against Michigan in the regional. But at this point in the game, that line is pretty faint, so I don't know that they're going to be able to challenge and get that. But the way to attack a slapper who's running through the box is to throw that pitch on the outside. A lot of them take that crossover step then towards the plate, which pulls them out of the box. And with 2 strikes, any contact made and hitter out of the box goes down as a strike, and it would be a strikeout to get them out from having to face Maloney.
And it goes under the glove of Collins, who knew she had to hurry because Maloney's so fast.
Well, and that goes down as a hit because of where the infield is playing. They are shallow and trying to take up that 5-6 hole. But the way that Maloney was able to get the barrel around pushed it more up the middle and out of the reach of Collins.
Second time Maloney's been on base, first hit of the game. Caden Henry singled and scored the first run, tries to get the bunt down, but that is a foul ball. Everybody calm down. They're excited because the ball went into center field.
That's center.
That time.
That one is center. That
Yes.
looks like this.
That where the Longhorn is?
A big C for
Yes.
center, yes. Well, and off the bat, it's a drag, and they're just trying to put runners in motion, but it is immediately called a foul ball by the home plate umpire, Scott Mayer.
We have had no attempted steals tonight.
No, ton of speed over there at first base. Maloney looking to go, but check out where your corners are on the infield. They know that there's a ton of short game at the plate available.
Vieira, a very good catcher, and talked to Basinger yesterday, and she said that, well, she gives a lot of credit to Vieira, says she is hands down the best catcher she has ever thrown to in her career. Lifted into left field, the ball keeps carrying, it goes off the wall. Johnson could not catch up to it. Henry's on second, Maloney at third with nobody out.
10-foot wall keeps Caden Henry in the ballpark. Pam, that ball was jacked. And when you see a lefty hitter up, doesn't even complete her swing, but connects it just the right spot on the outside part of the plate. That ball carried so well. Left fielder Kylie Johnson went back. She runs into the wall pretty hard. Took her a second to recover. But the center fielder, Jamison Brockenbrough, backed that up so well that it prevented a Texas run at the plate, and Basinger will be relieved.
It is Brooke McCubbin. This has been the pattern for Clemson. Basinger starts, McCubbin cleans up. And she comes in a bit of a situation with runners on second and third and nobody out. We'll have more on McCubbin when we come back to Austin. Brooke McCubbin coming in to relieve Basinger in a tough situation here in the 5th.
Well, McCubbin has had more opportunities and more innings this season over the century mark in innings pitched, and she's pitched in the biggest Clemson moments. Started their final game at Supers versus Oklahoma in 2023, but has had 3 seasons sitting behind Cagle, Thompson, and Spencer in the circle. She throws in the mid-60s, 64 to 65 miles an hour on her curve, rise, and drop, and is truly a frustrating pitcher to face because of how well she mixes her speeds. Has 2 different off-speed pitches, off-speed curve and off-speed drop, and doesn't stop there. She also has a true changeup. So that vertical separation and the change of speed, very difficult to attack. Now a little attention being given out there in left.
Kylie Johnson, who ran into the wall trying to catch up to that Henry fly ball. Donna Bullock is the athletic trainer out there with John Rittman as well.
Yeah, she went hard off the wall, but because she went so hard off the wall and the ball came off so hard, the center fielder was able to come over and grab it. So Brockenbrough saved the play while Johnson was going so hard back to try to make the catch.
And McCubbin's first task is to try to get Mia Scott, who hit a home run off Basinger in her last at bat. Solo shot to lead off the 3rd. Texas 0 for 3 with runners in scoring position tonight. And a golden opportunity for Scott. That almost got her. Remember, Atwood is on deck.
Well, and if you have to face Scott with first base open, hitting her is not a bad idea because right now Scott is 20 for 26, hitting .769 with a runner on 3rd base and less than 2 outs.
But Atwood hitting behind her. The most dangerous part of this lineup. Speed at both 2nd and 3rd. There's Basinger. 4 innings plus, responsible for the 2 batters, or the 2 runners on base, pardon me. Through 81 pitches, 52 for strikes. That's a strike from McCubbin. We mentioned these 2 teams have only played once. It was in 2022, and Brooke McCubbin in that game was a DP. That was a fun fact, as told to us, quote, from her Clemson teammates. And it might have been Brooke's first game.
There were actually several players in this game that were on both of the staffs at the time, but McCubbin was the only player that actually saw the field. All the other freshmen were riding pine that day.
And for Texas, there were a few players who were freshmen, but none of them got into that game. It's a 4-0 win for Texas 3 years ago. 2-2. Scott just got a piece of it.
Mia Scott laced this ball to left. You got to remember, not only is this a pretty big ballpark, I mean, it's a traditional 200 down the line, 220 in center, but the 10-foot wall requires you to really give it a ride to get it out of here.
Scott keeps fighting off pitches. Ninth pitch of the at-bat fills up the count with the ever-dangerous Reese Atwood on deck. Popped her up. Collins squeezes it. Huge first out. First out. Atwood was on fire last week in the regionals.
Atwood has been able to just come through in the big moment for Texas. She is not afraid to swing big. A bunch of home runs, playing at home in front of the home crowd. 3 home runs, 13 RBI, hit .727 in the regional, and that's the reason they walk her here with first base open.
Good idea.
I mean, how many times have we had that conversation, Pam, where we say, Why are you throwing to the hottest hitter when you've got a base open? That intentional walk is sometimes the most underutilized part of the game. I think back when Jocelyn Allo was hitting all those home runs, teams continued to throw to her. We never understood why, and the ball continued to fly out of the yard.
Yes, more than any other home run hitter in the history of the game. And so Atwood's going to be put on. Katie Stewart comes to the plate, and Atwood turns around and gives her some encouragement. Not that Stewart is exactly a schlub herself. I mean, she's got some good numbers.
Yeah, she definitely does. I mean, when she steps to the plate right now, she's got something to prove. She's had a rough night defensively, so as she steps in, she's got 15 home runs on the year and a chance now to put a bunch more up with a long ball.
And on the season, Stewart is 10 for 13 with the bases loaded. But you pick your poison. You put Atwood on, and one away, you have a force at any base. But a golden opportunity right now for Texas. Brockenbrough runs in, short center. They send the runner from third, and Maloney is out. Jamison Brockenbrough with the throw. It's on the money. Vieira with the tag, and Clemson gets out of it.
In the circle.
Brockenbrough with the strike to Vieira to end the threat. Bases were loaded with one out, and Texas still trails now as we head to the top of the 6th inning. Brockenbrough will hit second behind Kylie Johnson to start things off against Cavan. The starter has gone the entire way, and the last inning just 6 pitches, even though she gave up a hit.
Very efficient. She's thrown multiple complete games, double-digit complete games this year for Texas. She is not faltering in the circle. It's just been those hiccups defensively that have given Clemson the lead.
Just one of the 3 runs is earned for Clemson. Texas also has failed to get a hit with runners in scoring position, 0 for 5. That was Cavan's 100th pitch, and it sends Johnson down to first to start the 6th.
Just her first walk of the night. And I don't think they were throwing around Johnson. Here at the bottom of the lineup, there's sometimes a chance to sneak in some outs. So that conversation by the defense, bringing everybody in, so important. The pitching staff for Texas has said that they need to hear their defense talking to them. It makes them feel comfortable in the circle. So bringing everybody together, helping Cavan after her first walk of the night.
Now Brockenbrough with the defensive play to throw out Maloney, who is trying to score in the last inning, tries to get the bunt down.
Well, and Mia Scott over there at third base is right up in the grill of Brockenbrough. They know that she's going to try to put this ball on the ground and move a runner. And Scott so close to the plate, challenging Brockenbrough to try to get it past her.
Brockenbrough, the transfer from Tennessee. John Rittman recruited her originally, and she decided to go to Knoxville. Good freshman year, playing time down a bit in her sophomore year, so she transferred to Clemson. And you mentioned that she's had to go and be more of a short game hitter this year because of the injury.
Yeah, she's healthy enough to swing away, but by having that injury early on, it gave her a lot more confidence to use that short game, expose defenses. And because of that short game, the infield for Texas will challenge her close to the dish.
She's down 1-2. Upstairs, full count in the top of the lineup coming up for Clemson. Brockenbrough, it's off of Kavan, and the way she runs, there's no chance to make a play. 2 on to start the 6th.
And Brockenbrough is the only Clemson player with Women's College World Series experience. She played on the Tennessee staff when they went to Oklahoma City. So big pressure moments do not get too big for her, knowing that she's been able to perform on the biggest stage.
That turns the lineup over. For Clemson, Alex Brown coming up. And a visit in the circle, both Steve Singleton, the associate head coach, and Patty Ruth Taylor, who handles the pitchers, are out there, and that's Mac Moore, or pardon me, Citlali Gutierrez, who is up for Texas in the pen.
And Alex Brown's been perfect on the night. She's been able to step into the box and give confidence to the rest of the lineup as the leadoff hitter. She had a hit to left, a hit to center, that one in the middle, Pam, and then another hit to center, but that one went on the ground. So anytime it goes by that logo, we're going to call that one center field.
Okay. Noted. So Alex Brown 3 for 3 off of Kavan, hitting .400 in the postseason. Shows bunt. Johnson at second. Brockenbrough at first. Corners crashing in.
And the kind of year being had by Alex Brown, she's raised her batting average by almost 100 points. Doubled her stolen bases from a season ago.
And the scoop throw over. And the runner was called out. And then we saw Johnson continue to run to home, and that forced us. And we'll watch Gutierrez now try to get Moore, who has 1 hit tonight.
Moves from left field to second base. Leanne Good moves from second base to shortstop.
So quite a few defensive changes happening, not just at Lali Gutierrez different, but she will throw in the up to 60. So very similar speed to Kavan, but it's that multiple off-speed pitches that she throws. Off-speed curve, off-speed drop, off-speed rise, all of them trying to disrupt the timing of the hitters for Clemson.
Maddie Moore, the senior, who has seen her numbers go up every year, put in a whole lot of work, living for moments like this. 4 for 7 with the bases loaded this season, and a chance to bust it open with nobody out here in the 6th. And some defensive changes for Texas to add to all the madness. Stewart is now playing left field. Bennett has moved over to second base as Moore swings and misses. And Good is playing shortstop. So Stewart goes from short to left.
Talked about the multiple off-speed pitches. Well, there's one of them, getting Maddie Moore in a nice swing and miss.
2-2. Got her. Oh, just got a piece of it. Sorry, a little premature strikeout call. Moore under the glove of Scott at third. Drives in a run to give Clemson the 2-run lead.
going into that at bat, Maddie Moore was 11 for 15 with a runner on third and less than 2 outs. She was hitting .733 in that situation. Well, 5-6 hole exposed again. Maddie Moore coming away with a big hit and another run for Clemson.
Moore with their 67th RBI of the season. Bases still loaded with nobody out. Noller 0 for 3 against Cavan. Gets her first look at Gutierrez. That's into the gap. Big trouble for Texas. Hits off the wall. Brockenbrough scores. Brown right behind her. A 2-run double for Noller.
Huge hit with bases absolutely packed. Julia Noller's 19th double on the season, putting 2 more runs up on the board. Clemson rallying. And this ball's crushed, Pam. The outfield was playing in, trying to prevent the bloop hit single. And Noller says, just get on your horses and run because that ball's going to the wall.
And that's a Julia Noller special. She loves to hit doubles. Comes off for a pinch runner and is very excited. Noller now with her 19th double of the year. That's 9th in the nation. And she already has the Clemson season record for doubles and adds to it with that big RBI double.
She was just 1 for 10 in their regional, had a double off of Kentucky. So her only hit was a double in regionals.
So she's only hitting doubles in the NCAA tournament. Ava Wilson now running for Noller over at second base. Cintron steps in.
Really nice off-speed drop. I mean, you have to keep hitters off balance. And the pitch that Sitlali throws for velocity is a drop ball, so it tunnels very well with that off-speed drop.
Reese Atwood showing off the arm again. Moore had to dive back into third. Never drift too far off a base when Atwood's behind the plate.
Well, she's tried to pick Maddie at third twice now tonight.
2-2. Strike 3, big one for Gutierrez, and just the first out of the inning.
Pam, this one looks like a pretty nice cookie, but it comes in with a little bit different velocity because of that way out in front. Gets a nice strikeout. But you're right, Pam. First out of the inning.
Pierre, the catcher, singled in her last at bat against Cavan. Clemson team coming in. And a nice winning streak. They've won 10 straight games. John Rittman rolling through the ACC tournament, 3-0 in the regionals, and now a 4-run cushion here at Texas. Not fielded by Mitchell. They do get the out, but another run comes across the plate. As Moore scores.
Well, the way that Texas was able to complete that play, very impressive. However, I think Jolie Mitchell wore that one in a really tough spot. She's found herself needing to come and get some attention with the training staff, but kudos to Texas for not letting that play just trickle into nothing.
So score that 3-4-3 as it initially went off of Mitchell. And then Bennett, who just went over to play second base, tossed it back to Jolie. Mitchell's a tough kid, so that must have gotten quite a bit of her. Marion Collins waiting to hit. Collins, the 8th Tiger to come to the plate in the 6th. And Mitchell, who does wear that protective mask over there at first. Shake it off and continue. Now with 2 away. And Ava Wilson, the pinch runner, at 3rd. Collins has a double tonight. First time seeing Gutierrez. Collins on the ACC all-freshman team this year, starting shortstop. That was a position that was up for grabs as well for Clemson this year.
A lot of moving parts for both of these teams defensively. For Clemson, it was due to graduation. For Texas, due to injury.
Take strike 2. Collins 8 for 9 in the regional. Another hit tonight. Bennett at second, has time and throws her out, but another 2 and 5 or 2 and 4 in the previous 6. Clemson has has not this season lost a game when they led after 4 innings. They did so here tonight as you look at the summary. And Jolie Mitchell leads things off. First time facing McCubbin. She had a double off Basinger, who started and went 4 innings plus 2 batters. And McCubbin came in with 2 out and, or pardon me, 2 on and nobody out, and was able to shut the door in the last half inning. It's a Texas team that has been an offensive powerhouse all season. 2nd in the nation in batting average, averaging 7.5 runs per game. They've hit 83 home runs now with Scott's tonight. With just 2 runs so far against Basinger and McCubbin. Brown, 1 away. McCubbin also pitched a contact pitcher.
Very much so, and the defense shows up behind her. The way that Clemson has shown up tonight, impressive. Not only are they able to stand behind their pitcher with solid defense, but they've been able to produce at the plate in a way that we haven't really seen them do against tough competition. They did do well in their regional, coming away with 3 wins. Had to squeak out that win against Northwestern, where they had to pull off a squeeze bunt in the 9th inning to get the 1-0 lead.
Victoria Hunter 0 for 2, the bottom of the lineup. 0 for 5 with a walk. The 7, 8, 9 hitters. It's been sort of an Achilles heel for Texas when they get to the bottom. Going with Brown as the DP tonight.
And Mike White was not
Hunter, pardon me.
Mike White was not quiet about saying his 7, 8, 9 hitters, and even 6, 7, 8, 9 need to start producing down at the bottom of the lineup. The top cannot produce enough runs to be able to win these tough ball games against the best teams in the nation.
Hunter hitting just .250 on the season. Collins, 2 ground balls, 2 outs.
Shortstop, Leanne Good.
Freshman shortstop Collins has impressed me this year, which is the way that she's attacked that position and taken charge in a really tough ACC schedule, really tough preseason schedule. Clemson struggled early on, going into Clearwater, came away with just 1 win, went 1 for 5, then went on a 15-game win streak and set the tone for the rest of the year.
Good stings that, but well fouled down the left field line.
Clemson started the year 3-6, then went on to get to this point, 44-6 since that point. Just an impressive maturation process for the Tigers, who had to pick up to speed a lot of underclassmen.
That's a base hit into the gap. Goes all the way to the wall. Good with the 2-out double.
Well, in that situation, one of your outfielders needs to take charge. They both kind of gave way to one another, and by doing so, allowed the ball to get all the way to the wall. You got to be greedy, and your priority position player is your center fielder in that situation. So whoever gets there first, call them off and take charge. You do not want to allow that stand-up double to just cruise on in.
7th double of the year for Good. Texas has struggled with runners in scoring position, 0 for 5 tonight. And now Bennett is behind 1 and 2. Another play for Collins, charged it nicely, close play, she's safe. Good over at third, and here comes the top of the lineup.
In that situation, I want to see Noller aggressively stretch into that catch. She came off the bag and conceded the fact that it was speed down the line. But beg for an out in that situation. You got a shortstop charging hard, throwing on the run, but she comes off the bag and plays that in a way that does not even give her a chance to make an out over there at first.
The runners on the corners with 2 away after a couple of routine ground ball outs to start the inning. And they turn the lineup over. Maloney singled her last time up and then was thrown out trying to score from third by Brockenbrough. Chopper, the error, great decision to hang on to it. He had no chance to get Maloney.
No, even with how fast Vieira was able to get out of her stance back behind the plate, too much speed down the line. I like the fact that she did do that fake throw to first, seeing if she could draw the runner at third off. But this situation gives a moment of pause for Coach Rittman, and he brings his defense in and needs a little chat.
Caden Henry, infield single and a double that hit high off the left field wall.
It's crazy, but it's super regional time, and with a 5-run lead, nothing feels safe. Both of these teams pressing to make their way to Oklahoma City. You know, in the regular season, I don't know that you need to bring your defense together and have a conversation. But knowing that the emotions are high and there's a lot on the line, Coach Rittman needed to settle down his defense. They need one out to get out of this inning.
Especially when you're talking about an offense as lethal as Texas can be.
Especially the top of the lineup for Texas.
Henry takes a strike. Because after Henry, it's Scott who hit a home run, and then Atwood.
The most dangerous spot of the lineup for Texas.
Henry behind 0-2. Up the middle on an 0-2 count. Henry delivers. 2 runs come in to score for the Longhorns.
Caden Henry is just so good. She has so many tools that she can pull out and use to exploit a defense. And with the defense pulled in, she just punches that ball right back up the middle. 2 more runs across on a little ground ball past McCubbin.
7-4, and just like that, Mia Scott at the plate represents the tying run. Had a home run against Basinger, the starter. And the crowd is fired up. Very few of them went home. We had an hour-and-a-half rain delay. As we are past midnight local time in Texas. Scott hits it on the nose, but Brockenbrough was positioned beautifully and perfectly. But a good inning for Texas. With 2 outs, they get 2 to cross the plate. Down by 3 as we head to the 7th. It had just gotten underway. We were on our second batter when we had an hour-and-a-half delay for lightning in the area. And don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but there's more in the area, but not close enough yet, Jenny. Keep it away.
Nope, we need to finish this inning and make this one official.
Clemson facing Gutierrez, who came in the last inning to relieve Tegan Cavan. Pipkins with a good for the first out of the 7th inning, so we can close the book on Cavan. 5 innings, 9 hits, 6 runs, 5 of them earned. 1 walk and 2 strikeouts. Tegan threw 109 pitches, and there she is in the dugout hoping for a comeback for a Texas team that absolutely rolled through their regional last week. Johnson, sky high.
Well, and anytime you change positions defensively, I feel like the ball finds you. It's like a magnet. And so with that change of Leanne Good moving over from second base, now playing short, both the out this inning, going right to her.
A couple of quick outs for Gutierrez, and now Jamison Brockenbrough in forward. One of the 4 runs that Clemson got in the 6th inning, in which 8 Tigers came to the plate. Brockenbrough, as you mentioned, the only Tiger who has played in a World Series, did that a couple of years ago with Tennessee. The winner of this Super Regional, and all Super Regionals, all 8, go on to Oklahoma City. And from here, the winner will play the winner of Florida, Georgia. Earlier today, Nigel Kennedy did it again. shutting out Florida State and hitting a home run for Texas Tech. So they've taken an early lead down in Tallahassee.
Florida State threatened, but just could not get those timely hits. And in the postseason, it seems like that's the biggest piece of the game that falls short at times when you're facing the best pitchers in the nation. The bats go silent at most critical times.
And Kennedy is one of the best.
Yeah, one of 3 finalists for Player of the Year is Kennedy. And they'll come in playing tomorrow at 3 Eastern on ESPN2.
Or EPS.
What did I say?
No, that was a graphic. You were right. It's late.
It is late. Or early.
But tomorrow it's going to be great, seriously. Starting at 11 a.m. Eastern. We got softball all day and well into the night. Full count here on Brockenbrough.
These 2 regionals are the only regional supers that started today. Everybody else starts tomorrow.
Except for Florida State and Texas Tech, right? Those 2.
Yes, them and us.
Alex Brown.
So Brockenbrough walks. Second one given up by Gutierrez. Back to the top of the lineup and Alex Brown.
And this is where things got squirrely last time, so setting down the top of the order has been a struggle. Alex Brown has been on base every single time she's been up. It's 3 for 4 on the night.
Brown was 3 for 8 in the regionals last week in 3 games, and 3 hits already in this one. We are also scheduled to be on ESPN2 tomorrow night, 9 Eastern, which is 8 Texas time, Central Time zone here.
Yeah, we're your dessert after a long day of feasting on softball. Grab your ice cream.
But what does that make Oregon Liberty?
Ooh.
Second dessert. That's even
I
better.
think that should be a real
It's a thing.
There's second dinner. Why can't there be second dessert, right?
Atwood couldn't corral it, and Brockenbrough slides on into second.
And that's what I like to see, aggressive base running when a ball gets in the dirt or gets away from a catcher. That's actually an uncharacteristic miscue by Atwood.
Brown trying to draw the walk, but the late strike call, she's going to have to come back.
Well, and that up pitch has not been called today, so she was basing it on prior experience in the box. Her 5th time up tonight.
Full count. High chopper, tough play, and they got her. Bennett able to scoop it with her glove to end the inning. And John Rittman not happy about it. 6th inning on, it's takes a healthy cut. And Basinger, the starting pitcher, who went 4 innings plus 2 batters through 81 pitches, is up in the pen getting ready in case McCubbin falters. Starters can re-enter in softball.
I think more than anything, that's just nervous energy coming out in the pen down the line. McCubbin has been rolling through these hitters. It was a big 6th inning. It was a big 6th inning for Texas, but I think McCubbin is primed for this experience here in the 7th inning with her back against the wall. A 3-run lead should be enough for McCubbin to hold on to, but Texas bats do not sit down quietly, especially this part of the lineup.
McCubbin got all 3 games in relief in the ACC tournament, all come from behind wins. She got 2 of the 3 wins last week in the regional, also in relief. So this is the pattern now for Coach Rittman, going with these two arms. Atwood pounded it. That might have damaged an air conditioning condenser sitting on the top of the roof.
That would be a problem, knowing how hot they are getting ready to head into. I mean, in the 90s today, right, Pam?
Oh, at least. We're going to be upwards, mid to high 90s the next few days. Atwood behind 1-2. Continues to fight off pitches.
Knowing how balanced Reese Atwood stays in her stance, trying to jam her up, it's hard to keep an inside pitch that far in fair when you hit it. Looking for something a little off speed, off the plate.
Like that one, but got under it. And the left fielder, Johnson, overran it.
Well, Pam, we talked to Coach Rittman before this regional started, asking if this super regional started, if they practiced in the lights here in Austin. He said, no, we had a daytime practice slot, and we didn't think we just didn't ask for a nighttime practice. Well, Pam, after midnight, deep, dark sky, new ballpark.
Gave Atwood a second life, but she grounded out to Brown to start the seventh.
Deep breath, getting the biggest hitter out. I mean, she was crushing foul balls. So nice job by McCubbin to be able to sit down Atwood.
They give her an extra out, and there's Tegan Cavan over on the left. Started the game on the hook for the loss. Katie Stewart 0 for 3 today, robbed of a hit by Moore over at second base in the third inning. If Clemson hangs on, this will be their first super regional win in this, their third performance, or their third year, 0-4 in the previous two.
Just remarkable what John Rittman's been able to do with a young program. 3 super regionals and 5 complete years for Clemson, and just have been knocking on the door of the World Series.
Another play for Brown. 2 outs. And Clemson faithful, there's quite a few of them behind their dugout. In orange and purple. Here's Mitchell, doubled in her first at bat. Off Basinger. Basinger 1 out away from picking up her 18th win of the season. All the balls go to Alex Brown. That's high, and she's safe as Noller had to come off the bag. So some life for Texas. And it should be a throwing error on the third baseman. And it is.
Well, just so good by Jolie Mitchell to get down the line quickly. Your job as a first baseman is to get the ball first and then protect the bag second. So priority in order there, but I mean, that's the correct call over there.
This is an umpire-initiated review. The call on the field is safe. We will look at that play.
I think this should be very quick, Jenny Dalton Hill.
if it's
She was off the base.
She was 100% off the bag. Does not get back down in time, I don't think. So whose foot hits first? The runner down
Mitchell.
the line. Yep.
So a spot now for Texas, where Hunter is due up. Yeah, she's still safe. I'm anticipating a pinch hitter here, Jennifer.
After review, the call on the field is upheld. Runner is safe.
And yeah, Mike White is going to go to his bench. Victoria Hunter 0 for 3 in the DP spot. Looks like Katie Simmons is coming to the plate. Indeed, she is, the senior, who did not play at all last week in the regional. Pops it up, playable for Vieira. Clemson wins it 7-4, and for the first time, the Tigers have a super regional game win.
Big moment for Clemson. Texas gave up 4 runs in the 6th, only the 7th time all year they've given up 4 runs in an inning. 321 innings, Pam. I mean, the way that Texas has played this season, they have not had the miscues like they did. And they came at such a pivotal time of the season. But they've got life knowing this is a best 2 of 3.
Slip from Spitalina. I'm not sure she would have got there anyway.
And get to movement. Last comes just straight through hitting starts. You know, when you hit a good shot, get closer and get closer to the baseline. That's exactly what you did here in this rally. You're all putting Spitalina to win the point that's really inside the baseline. This is well. And executes well. We talked about it beforehand, but you have to admit that the backhand is not bad either.
Good shot closer, Smithy. Come on.